recognise myself in the mirror as bloody horrible. It was horrible.
Grow back.
It will grow back. You're right.
I haven't had a wet shave.
Live. So you're saying wet shave?
I haven't had a wet shave since 2007.
Well, that's quite the feat. Isn't it?
Mine's growing as yours is. I didn't shave it.
I didn't recognise myself. Ooh.
Why is that like that? Nice.
Is that still going on?
That's the start, yeah.
There we go.
That's the start.
No, it was 29, yeah?
What,
I've got something right.
Yeah, it is.
Number 29. There we are. Number 29. Hello, everyone. We're just talking about face hair.
Facial hair.
Face
That's how
hair.
we're starting off.
Face hair, or lack thereof. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be more of that.
Plenty of that, as well as just chatting nonsense, really, isn't it? For a little bit of time, you've got a complete attention today because we're going to try something bloody different, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just going to
late night, triple X style. This is late night and lewd. Is that what we're calling this?
Late night and lewd.
Late night lewd. Tops may or may not come off. Just saying. They'll stay on. But we're just going to chat a couple of things because it was a busy weekend. It was busy.
It was
busy. How was your day yesterday? Mine was fully packed. I did nothing but watch football yesterday.
Yeah, mine wasn't. I did watch a lot of football yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as football packed as yours.
Oh, should we do this? I forgot to do this. Should we do this?
Yeah, go on.
Boosh.
That may then take you to another one and then start recording.
Boom. There we are. Here we are. Let's do a professional on this one. We're on number 29 of the FIFA Ramble, where we'll be just rambling about FIFA styles, nonsense, as well as actual football from whenever.
So yeah, so for new, we're recording just audio now as well, which is going to be going up onto Anchor.
We're going to try it.
We're trialing something. So yeah, there's going to be a few people. If you're listening to this on Anchor, we're explaining to Facebook, who have been with us for 29 episodes.
29.
What we're talking about. If you so yeah, if you are listening on Anchor, then ignore me explaining what Anchor is because you already know. But Anchor is it's a new. Yes, Raj. Hey, mate.
Now, come on, Raj. We'll get into that in a minute. It's unfair you jumping on this bandwagon. This Gary Neville, and Gary Neville is driving this bandwagon. I'm sorry, in recent times.
Don't start.
It's nonsense, Raj.
But yeah, so
I'll come back to you, Raj.
We're starting. We're starting something new.
Yeah, we got a list of stuff to get hold of. Should we start with Gary Neville? Actually, do you want to do that?
Yeah, go on. Let's start with Gary Neville. I'll start the ball rolling because I think this is your ball. To be fair, so I'm not starting
with you. I'm not.
I'll start you up. Gary Neville called the Arsenal players spineless.
Got carried away.
Yeah, he called them spineless for their performance.
But how did he say it? Do an impression of how he said it.
I'm not doing an impression of Gary Neville.
It's too hate-filled, isn't it?
It is.
I think the tone really matters, and I think that's one of the reasons why. If he just said, I thought they were spineless, but he didn't. He said it like he wanted to kill him, like goddamn spineless.
He did. He wasn't very pleased with their performance, to be fair, but somewhat like you. I mean, you text me during the game a couple of times criticising him. I didn't think you went. You didn't 2-foot him like G Nev did. It's
annoying because of basic mistakes, right?
Mustafi's mistake.
That is ridiculous. I'm sorry if he I texted you. What did I message you? Goal side.
Goal side.
If you're not goal side and you're a defender, forget about it. As a previous goalkeeper, it really wound me up. Why was he out of position at that point? He should not have been there.
Right? Why was he Aguero there? Why was Aguero like
Messi kicked me.
Yeah.
Sir.
It was ridiculous.
It was so stupid. But the point is, he wasn't goal side, and that's what I messaged you. It was critical, but it was constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Unlike Gary Neville's comments. Is this ball rolling now?
Yeah, the ball is rolling. I mean, let's open it up a bit more, because I think Gary Neville, I made this comment before and you sort of quashed it somewhat. I think Gary Neville does a very good unbiased view.
That's how it should be. Yeah. Right? I understand we're human, we go through emotions day to day, and those things do change. He does try to make it as straight down the middle as possible. But the key thing with this is, as what I said to you before, like I listened to Joey Barton's The Edge recently with the
very good podcast, Joey Barton. If you're not watching
it, it's great because it's a wonderful insight from actual professionals to get a better insight of the game and everything else. Now, Gary Neville's mentality gets in the way of him being completely subjective, because
interesting.
Arsenal were the enemy, right? They were the enemy. That's how he fired himself up. That's that mentality and the edge of the edge of going that extra level is burning inside of him still, and he can't switch off from his competitive days. Now, you relate that to like an Arsenal performance, which was subpar, but I do believe there's just ways of going about.
It was very subpar.
Criticism needs to be constructive, right? And sure, it is frustrating to see Arsenal, but for Christ's sake, you're playing against Man City. You're playing against Man City, if not one of the best teams like performing in the whole of Europe right now. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
And it is annoying and it is frustrating because basic errors were made, like the Mustafi. That was hideous. And in a cup final, you know how psychologically damaging it is if one player switches off like that. It's ridiculous, right? The fact that it was 3-0, 4-0, like 2-0, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. The fact is that is a fundamental defending error, you know? I'm not hanging anyone else dry, but like you can't, he went running after the ref, going, ref, ref, ref. It was nonsense, right? That's constructive criticism because, like I said, you'd need to be goal side at least. Yeah. Now, all the other stuff which comes apart, if Arsene Wenger complains about this, that, and the other, that's just that is a bit of sore losing. But the criticism needs to be constructive, and I think Gary Neville doing that is not necessarily fair because you've done something there. Because of him being a former Man United player and the height of that aggression towards Arsenal.
Raj has, for the benefit of people not watching on Facebook, Raj has commented, at this stage you have to look at the coach's manager. Tactically would be suspect for a while and it's just not being addressed. Gary Neville has previously said he respects and likes Arsenal. I think it genuinely annoys him that a team he likes respects performs this badly. I think that's probably something because I've said it many times. I like Arsenal a lot, and I've said that a lot. I love the way that they play football. I don't go for the general consensus of Arsene Wenger is past it, and he needs to readdress the way that he does, the way that he looks at it. I think that the way that Arsene Wenger chooses to run Arsenal is refreshing, because he could go in and he could spend a lot of money.
Look at those youngsters he's bringing through now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good youngsters. I don't think there's as many good youngsters as there should be. Or that I'll rephrase that, as that you would want to be, or that there has previously been from Arsenal. As I've said a lot, I'm a big fan of Reece Nelson. I do like Maitland-Niles.
Who doesn't like Iwobi?
No.
You don't like Iwobi?
No, I do like Iwobi. I like Maitland-Niles. I like Eddie. Eddie's going to be a great centre forward for Arsenal.
Eddie's going to be our sponsor of the FIFA Ramble.
Yeah, fan of the Ramble, Eddie. That is a fact. Over on Instagram,
you heard it here first. He's going to
over on Instagram. He cannot stop loving us, but he's a great centre forward, and he's a very good young player. Pace, beat a man. They're all. But the problem that I have with Arsenal, watching them, is they're the most frustrating team to watch. So, and I'm not an Arsenal fan.
But saying that now, like the consistency level is consistently Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
At this time, you expect it because we know it could come Thursday and they could blow Man City out of the water. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise you to do that, would it?
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If Arsenal beat them 3-0.
You have to take the roughest move, and the fact that it's a difficult thing because it perpetuates so much negativity and hate. And it is frustrating because everyone knows that is the team that they want to be. But it's just so frustrating to see. But there's no need to take it to the next level of like shitting on people, really, is it?
No,
negging it out. Like, you can't. Like, someone wants a head on a plate, basically. Who's to blame? Arsene Wenger. Who's to blame? Whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't think it is beneficial without there being a constructive element to it. So, Raj, you know, I feel you. I completely understand, but like, there's no need to string someone out, hang someone out to dry. When, on the whole, I think with what's happened, Arsenal are overperforming on their level at the minute.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I hate saying that, you know, because I want them to be competing in everything else. But I think with the players they got, the young players they're bringing through, and they were giving Callum Chambers and Rob Holding free reign at the back to probably try and bring them through. That takes guts and that takes respect. Rob Holding
as well. I'm not a big fan of Chambers. I think he is suspect.
I think more respect's got to be given to the fact that, okay, it's a shame that it's dropping down a level of quality. However, you can't knock the way that the youth are being brought through. I think that is one positive that came from this inconsistent mess, which is Arsenal.
Yeah.
You know, and Jack can blame whoever he wants, the referees, whatever else, and he did put maximum amount of effort in, but there's sometimes you just got to say they were the better team, which they were, and if they went out and said that instead of all these excuses, that probably would have been more understood.
Yeah. No.
It's Pep's dream machine, basically.
The problem that I have with Arsenal, mainly,
...
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. ... It seems weekly now, but they just don't do enough to warrant this. I do think that they do things the right way, but there comes a point where you just got to think, you know what? They've stopped being that club. They've stopped being that club which had, you know, that turned players like Ray Parlour into what looked like world beaters.
It's just so harsh when
they're great. They're a great club, but the problem that they have,
it's a phenomenal club.
They just happen to have dropped below the other top.
Why do people want the blood of Arsenal so much? It's because there's been a hatred of them being like the better team before, and you think psychologically it's like, yeah, screw them.
I think what the problem is that
so much hate. You know what I mean? It's like proper hate.
I think it stems from if a manager had stayed on for the length of time that Arsene Wenger has done, while seeming happy, I'm not happy, but he's plateaued on league front. Because let's not forget, because people do forget when they go, oh, he hasn't won anything.
Always going to forget.
FA Cups. That's
consistent.
Yeah, and he has won them. He's won them consistently. He's, you know, they'll win the FA Cup, and then 3 weeks later, there'll be newspaper articles asking if Wenger doesn't win anything this season, is it time for him to go? It's like, well, he won the FA Cup a month ago. Can we just...
Yeah, but there's still...
How many clubs in the world...
It doesn't feed them to have that, because the scorn bucket is so full of scorn.
You take away the media in general. You take away the media, and then Arsenal Football Club would be a hell of a lot more respected than they are. However, there are how many games this season where the performance we could be talking about, like literally we're talking about the Carabao Cup final, but we could take these exact comments and cut and paste them and still talk about previous games. We could talk about the Forest FA Cup game. You know, there's a lot of games where you could just cut. And also, it must be, as being a United fan, do exactly the same for United. You could also do exactly the same for Chelsea in the last few weeks. And
whoever the target's aimed at. Remember at the beginning of the season, it was Liverpool. They're on for the chop.
Yeah, Liverpool
just to create drama.
It's the media.
It's just
easy. Media need to.
Yeah, because we can't blame the media generally, can we?
But the media need to sell.
Exactly. So they're gonna hit targets, aren't they? But do you know what? They rarely hit Man City because they've got a really strong media savvy backing. Yeah. Whenever stuff hits, there's never really you don't see it. But the other thing over the weekend from Sunday and today, what we learned, there's not enough credit that's been given to that Man City team. Mm-hmm. There's not. Everyone points at trying to hang Arsenal over string them over the coals. Why isn't there more saying, okay, they were the better team? But it's because of those little errors in big games which made that happen. Like, it could have been 3, but it also could have been 3-1 or 3-2. Yeah. Like, there was a goal which was sort of disallowed, but you know that it just goes along with it. You know, I don't think it shows class when Jack points at the referee, and Arsene Wenger's got a couple of excuses as well. When at the end of the day, Pep, that's a system that works. They were pressing so hard off the ball. That's what impressed me the most. And they were properly cornered coming through. They knew it was a weakness that they can't play at the back, and they held through. I think we should leave that element of Arsenal because we could talk about that a lot. I want to talk about the Man United Chelsea game.
Can we just talk one thing about something you just said then?
Sure.
It's not Arsenal, it's
Pepe?
Man City.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say it because I'm not a footballer or a football manager. However, it was your comment about them pressing off the ball. He's been doing that since he had Barcelona reserves.
Yeah.
So that high pressure, if they lose the ball, which rarely happens, they immediately swarm them. It was almost like...
Did you see Man United and Chelsea? That's what I was getting to. You saw the work off the ball of United.
Yeah, United worked
Chelsea.
Very hard.
They worked ridiculously, especially in the second half.
I don't understand how someone hasn't yet... Because how hasn't someone come up with a way, except it's seemingly Liverpool, of counteracting that press?
And Gegenpress.
Yeah, it's because Cruyff did it. The Dutch teams did it.
But I just think
very high pressure. As soon as they lost the ball, I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's worth YouTubing it. It really is bizarre to watch. But there was a tactic employed by the Dutch national side where if they lost the ball, literally every player within sight of that ball were pressed. And at certain points, it's literally 6 Dutch players chasing down the ball. One man's got the ball and there's 6 Dutch players chasing after him. And they win it back every time. It's almost like watching a group of 8-year-olds play football, where it's the ball's there, so they all run there. It was almost like that. And it's just...
look, I'm not saying it's a groundbreaking technique that's being adapted here, because we both know it takes a lot to put that system in place. Yeah, like you can't just say, oh, they work off the ball.
You can't get 11 men and press.
You can't do that.
Not many.
Because it needs to be a mentality in place, and it needs to be targeted where the weaknesses are. So that is all in the tactical nuance of setting that team up. You can't just say, oh, they pressed off the ball. That's it, is it? No, it's targeted. Whoever's got the ball, where the weaknesses lie.
Yeah.
And it starts fundamentally with Arsenal. Guess what? At the back.
Well,
unfortunately, that is the key.
We've said previously, I
don't want to wade into that. No. But yeah, that is one
Arsenal
element.
Need a new keeper and they need 3 new defenders.
However, it takes guts to trust in young players so much as Callum Chambers and Rob Holding, mixed in with any of the others. And Monreal was injured, who's, if not Arsenal's best player of this entire season. And he's tried his best to chip in with the goals as well. But you just can't, there's only so much you can do against the machine that is Pep.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. There's a way of playing it. And again, this is going to sound ridiculously biased, and it will sound biased. And to people who don't know me, they don't realise how unbiased I actually am when it comes to United and things like that. But I think Mourinho, and albeit the result is all that counts, and we lost, but Mourinho's tactics against City were very good. Extremely good. Yeah. They only scored off errors. It wasn't it was a personal error, but it was an individual error from a player that led to their goals. The tactic, and we nearly scored a number of times. It was almost, again, I keep talking about it, but it was almost his Inter Milan against Barca tactic. I love that game. Inter Milan versus Barcelona is my favourite game of football I've ever watched. It was almost like, well, okay, if they want the ball, give them the ball, but you just stand off them, and then when you do win the ball back, draw the foul, and then hit them on the break. Yeah, and it did work. It was just, if there weren't 2 individual errors, then we won that. We could have at least
how well Mourinho slept on Sunday night.
Oh,
he must have been, that's peak Mourinho, that beating Chelsea 2-1, right? You think?
It was
You didn't expect that, did you?
No, I didn't. I was fully expecting. I woke up Sunday morning fully expecting, thinking, okay, so today is going to be a day where City win another trophy.
Yeah.
And Liverpool still stay second in the league.
When Lingard come on, did you see that coming? I had a mate on WhatsApp called it great. Lingard with a winner.
Yeah, a couple people actually. I love Jesse Lingard
because he's a big game player, isn't he? He's the ultimate young big game player.
He's a big game player, and do you know what? Again, the United fan in me loves is that he's a big game player who's homegrown. He's come through our academy, and fundamentally, non-United fans seem to hate him, and it makes me get on Twitter when United play.
I really enjoy watching him play. The same with Rashford.
People just don't like him. I think it's his. I do think it's less to do with him and less to do with him as a footballer and more to do with him as a
physical
person.
Look.
Yeah, there's also a lot.
Take the piss out of him with Pogba, right?
Well, his Instagram, he does a lot of stuff on Instagram which just takes the piss.
It's just childish.
And he does it without a French accent, and I think that's key. I think him and Pogba, they're very similar in that they're very light-hearted with their social media, but one of them's got a French accent. So, and one of them just sounds like a prepubescent Liam Gallagher.
Oh, there we go.
But again, I love Lingard. I think he's brilliant, and he is a big game player. You look at the goals he scored and the games he scored in. He's important.
And something needs to be said to that. But you can't hate on the kid. He's doing great things.
He's doing brilliantly, and he also
same markers like Rashford. It's like a great thing, and justifies the big hubbub about him signing a new contract because that's what he can do.
And Lingard is going against the grain of this. Seemingly, people seem to have a lack of faith and belief now in the loan system. Whereas before, players, even within, not that very, very recent history, players like Beckham going to Preston, that's the biggest example that I can think of, where Lampard going to Swansea.
They say that on the episode, don't they? Now it's a huge
yeah,
fee.
They talk about it. It's a massive fee. So if you want this player, you have to pay this amount of money.
Brentford.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Cut his teeth there.
You don't get that much
He's been Gigi Buffon. In blooming.
Went to Brentford, came back to Arsenal, became their number one at a very young age, and had one cigarette in a shower, and now he's Gigi Buffon's understudy. Well, technically, I don't think they have a number one now.
I wish he was Arsenal though.
Well, he should be at Arsenal because he's head and shoulders above every other keeper.
Which was number one at Arsenal, which should have been the case 2 seasons ago. Should have just committed to it. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, Man United Chelsea game.
It was the
pressing really impressed me of United, especially in the second half. They just went at them for that period, and Chelsea just crumbled.
They did.
They did crumble.
They did. It was
that Lingard winner was quality. His movement was great. No one picked him up, and everyone was just looking at what's going on here.
Yeah, it was a lovely. Do you know what also was lovely to watch was the performance Lukaku put in.
Again,
we
always say this, right?
We say it every week.
Who the hell has an issue with the way Lukaku's operating?
There's quite a few of you sort of watching now and listening and dipping in.
I just don't get it. Even when he's not scoring fully, I just don't get it.
Disallowed goal change. Yeah.
What we talking? What Arsenal?
You can say
that. That's fine.
Lukaku, we do say this every week. Now, there's a couple of you, quite a few of you watching. I've done it again.
It's fine, just leave it.
But
anyone who's got any negativity,
criticising Lukaku and why? Now, I understand, as a United fan, I watch every game, so I understand
no sense to do
that there are times where he looks washed ashore with not a rescue boat in sight. But
do you know what the extra
why is that Lukaku's fault? I don't get it.
Do you know what the extra factor was? Spite. Fueled by spite, wasn't he? Lukaku for that game. That's being G'd up and being wound up and let go. And just being told, what's that, you're not good enough for this team? Yeah. How anyone's got an issue with how Lukaku's performing at his age with his statistics bemuses me. It drives me absolutely crazy. When he churns out constantly performances like this. That assist, no one saw that coming. I can't see the vision to pick that out with his left peg at that angle for that goal, which is the winner, is absolutely sensational. Now, regardless if he's scoring regularly or not, if he's scoring, that's amazing, and he is your boy to go to. If not, he's still so useful in that role, and Mourinho saw that like in order for him to buy it. He
Lukaku,
saw that there was a movement
performance. He was amazing.
Because guess what? Everyone wants one of those bouldering players. The fact is, what Lukaku can provide, left or right foot assist here, there, he can annoy the hell out of people when he plays. Is such a useful talent for a team, and everyone's scrambling around. You know, you've got names whispered around like after Diego Costa's gone. You know, that's why they've replaced him with sort of a bouldering older Giroud. But then you've got Edin Dzeko in the mix. You had Glenn Murray, whoever else, these smashes at the front.
Yeah,
and I think they're useful. But Lukaku is the antithesis of a modern. Like Goliath at the top there.
Well,
the power
he's the. Let's go back to sort of like, you know,
our 24
heyday. Yeah, 24.
That's outrageous.
24
he's
years old. He's
performing above and beyond.
24 years old. He's Belgium's top goal scorer.
Who's got a problem? Lukaku was a donkey. The whole. Okay.
No, Lukaku had to put in a man of the match performance.
You
he was
kidding
outstanding.
me?
That's
Come on
ridiculous
now.
Yeah, Lukaku was outstanding. Let's go back to our heyday. You know, peak football for us was mid-90s, yeah? Agreed? So you had those certain players who were bulldozers up front. What Lukaku is...
Big man, little man.
Yeah, big man, Sheringham Shearer. What you've got with Lukaku is he's almost a stereotypical number 10, if you will, the Sheringham, and the stereotypical number 9, your Shearer. He's got the pace and the power to. He is a modern striker. He's a modern centre forward, and you know he reminds me an awful lot of is Cavani, but Cavani in his Serie A days of when he had a bit more pace, because his pace has dropped off. He's still. Let's not mince words. He's still the best.
Did you see Lukaku when he busted an absolute bollock in like the 85th minute to just make that run, that change of pace?
Yeah.
Right? And did you see Mourinho's reaction to that? That was incredible, right? To bust that out. I know it was fueled by spite because this is former club and this, that, the other. But that's besides the point, because if you're motivated like that and you turn out performances like that, that is above and beyond what is necessary. And the fans will tap into that level of mentality.
Ran himself into the ground, I think. But there's...
I just don't get the criticism of him at his age. And they go, oh, you know, imagine if
he's 24.
English. He's 24 and he's proved himself at two different clubs now.
He scored 20, I think he's done 23 goals maybe for the season. Oh no, maybe 22.
And he's done that consistently for
but
what,
that's
like 4 years?
In a row.
4 years?
That's 2 games in a row, because in the FA Cup game against Huddersfield, he was exceptional. His running, what I like about it is when we got a corner that you need to defend, he sits just on the box, just on the box, so he can. If the header comes out, if the ball comes out, he's going to clear it. And but then also if the ball doesn't, his turn of pace is unbelievable.
Do you know what? I think Lukaku is a perfect example of what happens when you go out on loan and succeed as well, like Wojciech Szczesny. The fact that when he went to Everton in the first place and was motivated to show,
Well, look at his time at West Brom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So without those loan moves, he'd just be stewing and being farmed out somewhere to Chelsea if he didn't take that challenge on. The chances are they probably wouldn't have got a chance at Chelsea. Yeah. That's why he committed to.
No, he wasn't going to get a chance at Chelsea.
And look at him now, proving his worth. Yeah, I don't know enough players do that, but the loan system.
The loan system works. A lot of people seem to have lost faith in it, and that's because of the way that it's used
and the money that
the money as well. Let's say it exactly as it is. It's the way that Chelsea use it. You know, Chelsea
and they dictate a run. Yeah,
Chelsea use it. There's 2 trains of thought here. Chelsea
and Barcelona as well.
And Barca. Chelsea either abuse it or they're very clever with it. You can't. There's 2 trains of thought, because Chelsea make a lot of money from loaning players. Then that loan increases the eyes who are watching that player. If he performs to a certain level, they then get money. Now you can turn around a couple of years later and say, well, they had Lukaku, they let him go. They made money off him. Not as much as they could have done, or they probably could have, this season especially, this summer when
Bruyne,
Costa's gone. They brought in Morata, but they wanted to bring in another striker, and they ended up with Giroud. And we love Giroud. However, there's no way that if Antonio Conte had Lukaku on the books, they would have bought him, because they had Lukaku, and they probably wouldn't have bought Morata if they still had Lukaku.
Like Morata.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's a great player. Again, it's his first season.
Think what he's going to be like second season, you know.
Well, he's
you only
already
kick
been
into
phenomenal.
uni in the second year.
He's already been.
You have a freshers year. You have a laugh.
Exactly. He's having his
Better
freshers
do it.
year.
Just chill out. He's going to be
Morata's
fantastic
brilliant.
next season. He's going to be fantastic. He's shown glimpses of that, and I just think, all right, for a striker not to go 9 matches without a goal is suspect at this level, but it could be Sado Barahino.
Yeah, exactly. But also, you've got to look. I think that with a striker, if a striker has a barren spell, it's their fault. A barren spell. It's their fault because they're not scoring goals. It was almost the point that I was sort of making with Lukaku, in that people criticise Lukaku for not scoring enough goals against bigger clubs. Well, you watch those games, and he wasn't exactly getting the service that he needed. Against Huddersfield, he scored because Alexis Sanchez is a magician.
He's a wizard. And
played one hell of a ball to him, and he scored. And again, against Chelsea, he just battled through. And his ball to Lingard was outstanding. And Lingard is another one. And Lingard's another example of the youth system, of the loan system working. Because he went to Birmingham, and at Birmingham, I think he scored 4 goals on his debut. I think it was 4. It may have been, no, it was 4 or 5. I believe it was 4. But he was already, I believe, 22, 23. Around that age, maybe. I might probably well out on my numbers, and someone is watching thinking, you idiot. But
there's a comment.
There's I'm a donkey. But the age, he was quite old for someone. You know, usually you think 18, they get loaned out, and then they, you know, sort of like your like Dele Alli when they bought him, and then they sent him back to the Dons. Harry Kane at Millwall is another one that springs to mind. Crouchy at Dulwich Hamlet.
Oh, it's good. I love Dulwich.
Yeah, Dulwich Hamlet. It's always a good time if we mention Dulwich Hamlet. Becks to Preston. Lampard to Swansea. You know, it was that sort. But Lingard was a good example of how when it works well, because he went there, he impressed there, more eyes on him. But then he came back to United, and he decided to get back into the team. You know, it was an all round. It was a great performance. It was lovely, and I can only assume that the city of Manchester this morning was an absolute shambles. You know, it's. I wonder how many people called in sick today in Manchester.
Interlude.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Interlude. That's.
Whoop whoop. Yeah. All aboard.
Yeah.
I'm
ready. I got my card. I got my card.
Are you ready to get on the Trans-European Express?
Yeah, I'm going to tap it.
Do you want to go there?
Oh, is this a return or a single?
Have you got a ticket, sir?
Do I need one?
Yes, you do.
Can I have a season ticket?
It's one way to Party Town.
Party Town.
Of Europe.
Yeah.
European football.
We're there.
Let me just punch it.
Click. Okay, there you go.
There we are.
Punched it there, genuine.
There we are. And no one's driving this crazy train either.
Yeah. There's
we're just popping over to European football for just a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to pop over to Europe, and then we'll come back for a bit.
You actually saw the PSG game, yeah?
Yeah, I did. PSG Marseille.
Because I was listening to it.
Classique. It was a great game. I've talked a lot about my love of French football, my newfound love. But it was a great game that Marseille deserved a bit more out of. They weren't that bad.
They looked like a very flattering score.
PSG just were too good for them.
How was Edison Cavani?
Oh, he was... Cavani put in a performance.
You wouldn't kick him out of bed for...
I absolutely love Cavani, and people have called me wrong, an idiot, and I just couldn't care less. Edison Cavani is the best centre-forward in world football.
Cavani is superb. And
he's the best centre-forward. I'm not saying he's the best striker. He is the best centre-forward in world football.
Do you think he's better now than he was at Napoli?
Yes.
Hands down?
I think he's a more... he's different.
I loved him in Napoli.
Yeah, he's a different player. Almost, we touched on it earlier in that because Lukaku reminds me of a younger Cavani. Cavani has lost that turn of pace, but what he has gained is the ability to hold the ball up and bring other players in. When you've got a centre forward who can do that, and you've got behind him, you've got players like Motta, albeit he didn't play last night. You had Lassana Diarra last night playing in the holding role. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good players in that middle set. But when you've got, let's just use another one of my favourite players at the minute in European or world football, is Rabiot. You've got Rabiot, who can then, when he wins the ball and he holds the ball well and he looks up, and he can either play a long looping ball out to Neymar, or you can play it out to Mbappe, or you can play into Cavani, who will either be waiting to receive the ball and then you can run off him.
Tons of options.
Yeah. Or he will make a run past the defender and you play it just ahead of him. And from there, he's lethal. The goals were good last night. They were good goals. Mbappe's was stunning because Mbappe makes the hard things look simple. And he turned the defender and he dropped it into the bottom corner. The keeper didn't have a clue where he was going. It looks an easy finish, but the way it's so hard to make that look easy.
Just another level.
Yeah, he made it look simple.
So they will buy him after this.
Yeah, they have to.
The connection that Mbappe's got with PSG is very deep, isn't it? He loves the club.
Yeah, he loves it. He wants, eventually, I do believe that Mbappe will go to Real Madrid because he has always, there's that picture of him as a kid sat in his bedroom and he's surrounded by pictures of Cristiano Ronaldo in a Real Madrid shirt. But albeit he hasn't gone there for love because obviously he's being paid a handsome wage. But I do think he's picked it sensibly. He wouldn't have played at Real.
When we look at Neymar, do you think it's a case of sort of hero worship and he's going to have to, his ego will be utterly ridiculous in his demands if he is going to go to Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think it's...
Because he said he wants to have a bigger pay packet than Ronaldo when he comes there.
Yeah, he did. I think...
Do you think that warrants... What do you think of that attitude? Because on one hand, it's a case of, he's tried and tested, granted, but there's something about that ego of wanting that, which annoys me, and it probably upsets a hell of a lot of football fans as well. If that is the case, it's probably his agent stirring shit up, obviously. Yeah, but if he's out there, because I've heard he's a little bit of a git, really, when it comes to playing and his approach and his attitude.
Yeah,
is what I hear all the time. That he's a bit of a fool.
It's a weird one with Neymar this season because he was obviously brought in with much fanfare and his transfer records, and it was a huge deal made of it because obviously Barca didn't want to lose him, and I've got my own opinions on Barca because they cannot ever take the moral high ground ever because PSG did this. They got a lot of criticism, PSG, for spending all that money, but it's their money. They didn't rob the poor to buy him. It's their money, regardless. They've passed financial fair play, albeit they're under investigation at the moment. I don't know what the outcome of it was, and that's why they could. But they can afford Neymar because that's why they couldn't afford Mbappe. They had because they wanted to buy both of them, and they could have afforded it. They have the money there to have signed Mbappe outright, but Monaco wanted like 100 million or something.
Yeah.
But they couldn't because of financial fair play. So that's why they've said, well, we'll pay you a down payment now.
Just got around it that way.
Yeah, we'll pay you a down payment now. We'll bring him in on loan. And then at the end of the season, we have to pay you this amount of money. And they've got it so that the payment falls into next season. So it's financial fair play next year.
There's just way around.
Yeah, there's ways around.
Imagine if financial fair play actually happened. I think Arsenal would be miles ahead of where they're at. But the fact is, there's always going to be people pushing boundaries of anything and everything. There's ways like, what was it? Man City could just say, "I'll sponsor that peg for £1 million."
Well, yeah. I mean, let's not forget that when the takeover happened at Man City, the first few big money sponsors that came in were other companies owned by their owner. You know, they're like, I can't remember the exact companies, but it was, you know, say like an airline, but it was all these companies that came in, like their official social technology sponsor, you know, their bloody tractor sponsor, their noodle partnership and things like that. They were all companies owned by their owner. So people were then saying, well, how can you do that? And they're like, because it's a separate company sponsoring a company. That's, again, is that morally suspect? Probably.
Yeah.
Is it correct and in the rules? Definitely. Yeah. So fair play. They've worked a way of doing it to their own advantage. No. But, you know, Barca fans, again, up in arms about the Neymar deal. Well, you tapped up Neymar. That's not allegedly. They tapped Neymar up. They paid a ridiculous amount of money to his agent, who also happens to be his dad, and let's not forget, they paid no tax on it. You know?
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, no, they went to court. There's no allegedly.
Did you see the AC Roma game?
Do you know what? I didn't.
In the first 5 minutes, Raja Nainggolan, also a Ramble favourite, lost a tooth to Frank Kessie.
Did he?
Yeah, an elbow.
Raja can't afford to do much more to his face.
He just went on because that's how he does.
Yeah, Raja is a beast.
Yeah, he's a.
It's going to be a sad day when Raja starts declining because he's on the.
He's a fantastic player.
He's amazing.
But I think amazing. I think he's cool. I think he knows his levels. I think he could go elsewhere, but I think his attitude is his own. I don't think he'll wash over in any other.
Roma are weird club.
I'd feel so happy if I was at Roma, by the way.
You would, but you'd feel because they're a weird club in that there's not many. They've got a few players who go to Roma, stay at Roma, and retire.
Yeah,
and you can see Raja Nainggolan being that player.
Yeah, okay.
In the De Rossi and Totti role. You know, it's that famous story of excuse me, of when Roma weren't performing extremely well. It's a number of years ago. It must be 10 years ago, I reckon.
But you see,
they weren't performing well, and then the fans decided that what they were going to do, they were going to trash the directors' cars and the first team players' cars and the manager. They were going to trash the cars, and they did. They managed it. There was a good few hundred fans. The only two cars that were untouched were Francesco Totti and Daniele De Rossi. They didn't, like the other cars were smashed to smithereens, tyres were shredded, windows put in, you know, the cars were just beyond. But De Rossi, the quote I read, it was in the old Champions magazine. Remember the Champions League magazine they had? It was a good read, that was, back in the day. The quote was, they looked like showroom cars. It almost looked as though the ultras had smashed everything else and went, oh, that's Totti's. We better give that a polish.
It's just respect is what that is.
And Raja Nainggolan's going to be, it looks as though he's going to be in the mould.
Francesco Totti, it will always remain a legend of that, no matter what he does. He'd be great. Sami Nasri, do you think social media got him into trouble? Because posing the way he did after that drip thing that he was doing, do you think that because of that post, because no one would have batted an eyelid otherwise, would they? No, you wouldn't have known about it. No one. No. Now he's got 6 months out of the game. Do you think that his career has been a failure, or do you think it is? He's just not shown the potential that he had. Because I think, right, on the whole, he was found. He was found. He's a Marseille player. Went to Arsenal, smashed it. Then went Man City, and then, which was a money move. And for a kid of sort of his background, in his skill, for that price and whatever, he just decided to take that route, and he won 2 trophies.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, I think he's a fabulous player to watch. He's a fantastic player.
He's a great player.
He's still good now.
He's still good. He's just not at the level he was.
Yeah, I don't think he ever will be.
No,
but
not now.
It was. I think this is this social media post from that company who he had that drip thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the dangers of social media.
Well, yeah, the problem that you have
showing off that you've got with this sort of weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a weird treatment to have. But I don't think anyone would bat an eyelid if it was low key.
No, it was. Well, the problem that you have with any player, really, I suppose Raja Nangolan's going to be coming into this now, is that when they get to a certain age, like Nasri is, he's obviously he's a talented player. He's still a talented player. He's just not going to be the player that he was because he's older.
Yeah.
But then when you get older, you can either still Totti got old, Buffon is old. They still perform Ryan Giggs was 40 and still performing at the Makaleli. You know, I mean, he performed at such a high level for so long. He's got a position named after him.
Steve Grizovic.
Yeah, Steve Grizovic, Colin Hendry. The list goes on. Tony DeRigo. You know,
Gareth McCauley.
Yeah, McCauley. But you've got there's certain players who they get to a certain age, they tail off, and then they'll end up playing abroad. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but I found out this week Eto is still playing.
Yep.
Did not know.
Yeah, he's still playing.
I didn't know.
I like Sammy
Schneider is playing in like
Qatar. Who's actually playing in China now?
There's a lot of players playing in China. I mean, I know Hulk's there, but they're now China. There's actually a really good article. Gaetan was linked with United every summer for about 9 years. But China are offering a lot. There's a lot of players going out there who are squad level players, and they're going out there for a lot of money.
All right, what's the Lewandowski stuff then?
Right. Yeah, Lewandowski again. I reckon we finish on some rumours. To be honest,
spin me a yarn.
Well, Lewandowski. There's an article doing the rounds from Sky Sports, which was then they got it from other sources and things like that. I believe it's because he wants a new contract at Bayern. That's But the rumour is that well, it's not a rumour. He has got a new agent. He's just taken on a new agent. And the rumour is the reason he's taken on a new agent is because he wants to leave Bayern. Because he thinks that if he doesn't leave them now, he reckons he's getting to, if not in his peak, age-wise, performance-wise. So the rumour is that he wants to leave Bayern now and play in another top league at the highest level. I think it's one of two things. I think it's either one, his new agent thinking he's coming, he's seen his contract.
It's the last deal you're going to get.
Yeah, he's come in and seen his contract and thought, you can get better than this at Bayern. Or he's come in and gone, this is potentially the last big money transfer you're going to get, so we need to get you now. I think his contract runs until 2021, but he's been linked quite heavily with United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and PSG. And what for me piqued my interest more so than the United one, because I think that's absolute tosh. Because I don't see why United would even consider buying a striker. Was the PSG one, because then that led to other rumours, which I've been seeing a lot, which is Cavani is Premier League bound this summer.
Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
You would love that.
Because, again, he's not going to play for United. I don't think he'll go to Chelsea. He could go to Chelsea, but I don't think he would, because I don't think he'd be definite first choice. But then, if you keep reading on, there's talk Lacazette's off.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. There's talk that Lacazette is off, which then in my head got me thinking of Mkhitaryan, Ozil, Aubameyang, and Cavani. Which I don't even care where they play. I would personally have them as three fluid attacking midfielders across there.
But it would be lovely. Even that would not appease Arsenal fans.
Problem is, though, being a non-Arsenal fan, even if they got Cavani in,
that's for you because you love Cavani.
If they got Cavani on a chip, this is the problem in it. Is a lot of people just because he doesn't play. Yeah, I genuinely believe. I think there's people out there now who believe that Jermaine Defoe would be a better signing for Arsenal than Edinson Cavani, simply because they know who Jermaine Defoe is.
If you did a poll, I bet you that would come out.
Yeah, who would you sign more? There's the Dean Saunders thing. Have you heard the Dean Saunders?
I don't want to get started on Dean Saunders.
Yeah, no, that's for another time.
It's one of the similar reasons why I think, being a full-paid member of the Keepers Union, right?
Yeah.
When people say, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the work of Dave De Gea, right? I think he is great, yeah. And I said, I threw a comment out yesterday. Oh, got done at his near post. Yeah. And like everyone was against me when I said that. I know it was hit with pace. I understand that.
Pace on it was outstanding.
Yeah, one of the comments I got a backlash because I was in a WhatsApp group with loads of United players. It was a case of I don't think near post could be justified now because of how the ball moves. It's just like. He did get done at the near post. He is frustrated because of that, but he did still get done at the near post. Yeah, now, my point being, when people don't look across the other side of the water or wherever, is the fact that they don't see any other goalkeepers, so they're just stuck with the ones that they know or they've got affinity to because the players, the team that they support. Or it's when pundits go, terrific. With David De Gea, he is great. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful goalkeeper. He probably is performing at one of the better structures.
Again, it's the opinion thing. Personally, I think David De Gea is the best keeper in the world.
But without, and that could be justified, but without knowing a bit of other goalkeepers across Europe, it's the whole thing, isn't it? Like this.
Well, I had a discussion where literally when I said, because I opened it up and we were talking about it last week, so I talked about it a little bit with a few people.
Yeah.
And someone who will remain nameless said, "Oh no, I think it's Courtois." I was like, "Okay, yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I can see it." I was like, "Personally, I think Courtois isn't as good as people think he is."
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not saying he's not world class because he blatantly is. I just don't think he's at the highest level. I don't think he's Buffon.
I think he'll
get
prime.
Like, I think De Gea is Buffon level. But then he also said, "Oh yeah, but Lloris as well. Lloris is good." And I was like, okay.
You're just naming good. There are great keepers.
Literally all he was saying. And then he said, "Oh, I think also," he said, "given time, Butland and Pickford." And I went, "Right, are you only naming Premier League goalkeepers?"
Yeah.
And he was. Because I was like, "What about Alisson at Roma? He's a great keeper."
Yeah.
I said, "He's a great keeper."
Never forget Gigi Buffon.
I said last week, I think the only goalkeeper who could realistically challenge De Gea for the title of best goalkeeper in the world was Manuel Neuer.
Which is who I was just about to say.
I think Neuer and De Gea and again, I'm not counting out Buffon. However, I think to be discussed as the best in the world in your position, you need to be playing week in, week out unchallenged. Not through performance or whatever, but Buffon isn't.
And look,
not anymore because Chesney is being bled into the team.
And look, stats don't lie. When it's down to a statistical point of view as well, like stats bombing, right?
Yeah.
When it's broken down, I do think that goalkeeping is hard to justify in those terms. But when you because look, how many times I don't think those things sometimes relate when it comes to statistical how good you're performing. Same with many players, but goalkeeping is really tough because they've got the analytics around to coincide with that. Because you could find that the amount of saves you make, that's great, but it differs from like what actually happens in the stats. So that's why we like it, especially with fantasy football. We choose those low goalkeepers because they're going to get their shots at them all the time.
From here,
heat into the core. Losel, 11-year work zone.
Yeah,
that's great. Which brings us on to our next standpoint of who do you bring in for your fantasy football?
Fantasy football this week, I took out Kante. I took out. Let's go to the. Let's end it on fantasy football.
Yeah.
I've got it on my page now. I took out Kante, which actually turned out to be.
Did you captain Harry Kane?
A good. No, I captained Mo Salah.
Okay. Sturdy.
Yeah, I captained Mo Salah.
How many points you get?
I haven't checked.
I captained Firmino.
44 I got this week.
Okay.
I took out.
That's pretty good.
I took out Kante and I brought in Goodmanson from Burnley.
Oh, I like a bit of Goodmanson.
Yeah,
Underrated.
just because I didn't know what to. I didn't know what to do. I did think they'd get a clean sheet. I would have had a lot more points, but I had Duffy as Brighton.
I bailed on 33, but the one I did bring in was Shaqiri.
Nice, good choice.
I was well happy with that.
Good choice. Well, I had, I did have 8 more points, but Burnley and Brighton lost their clean sheets late on.
Do you know what? I was scrambling between Callum Wilson and Glenn Murray. In my head, it tormented me. And look what happened. Glenn Murray just smashed them in.
Yeah, no, well, I can't. I can only actually transfer in and out like one player. To be fair, I've missed the.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Missed this, yeah, but no, I'm thinking Duffy's probably going to be gone.
Top tip: week. Who are you going to bring in this week? Have you got Ryan Fraser in yet?
No, I haven't got Fraser in because I went Goodmanson. I'm gonna. I don't know. I'd probably look to bring in another defender, but unless Phil Jones can come back.
I'm keeping Phil Jones forever.
Yeah, and I may say, if Phil Jones comes back from injury, I think I'm going to save my free transfer because I'm pretty happy with the rest.
Cool.
Because the only ones I wouldn't be are Aguero and Sterling because they're playing Chelsea. But I think Sterling...
But it's irrelevant who they play because they could smash anyone up. And it's those big game players, they're the ones that are going to come through.
When Sterling and Aguero are fit, I think they're fixture-proof.
Right.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much for tuning in. We will see you again next week. As always, don't forget to go